Welcome to the Detailing Down Under podcast, the place for everything auto detailing in Australia right now. Here's your host, Dale Guthrie.
G'day and welcome to the Detailing Down Under podcast. I'm your host, Dale Guthrie. So we're back, 2023. It's been a few weeks, and everyone, thanks for your patience. So we've had a few people even message me going, "When's the pod coming back? When's the new episode dropping?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's coming." And I'd said to a few people, I've been chatting to a few offline out to organise a few. So it is hard trying to align with everyone's times, and I know you are all busy and stuff, and I am a bit as well. So, but yeah, thanks for keeping in check and checking on me and make sure we're punching on again. So yeah, another year, and we'll keep this thing rolling along. So yeah, had a few weeks off. It's been pretty good. I've only not long got back into the detailing game myself, so had some good family time away, and tried to give up some cars as well, and just sit back and relax and enjoy it. So but yeah, we're all back into it and cruising along. So we've got a few as I said, a few lined up, and quite a bit of the stuff earlier on this year will be around the training side of detailing. So we've got the Detail Wise Training Academy coming up in March. For those who don't know, it's March 20 from the guys from Chicago Auto Pro. So we done an episode with them late last year. So they're coming over for 3-day training in Sydney with our friends from Steve's Auto Group. So Joe there is hosting that. So I've been in touch with him of late, and sounds like it's all full noise to them boys. So can't wait for that. And then there's another little thing that's popped up the last few days in regards to training. So another international training academy sort of tagged me in a post, and then I sort of didn't think much of it. Ended up messaging the guy to make sure it was legit, and it was. So yeah, I've got a little bit more to come on with that, and that'll be a podcast as well. So another international guest in regards to training. So a little bit different how they do their training, and it'd be good to talk about that. So a little bit of that, and hopefully a few products as well, and just some all-round detailers as well, having a chat to. So trying to mix it up and keep it going. So, but yeah, we can't do it without you guys' support. So if he's looking to come on, and feel free and reach out to me. So I'm always looking for guests, as I always say. So we just try and support the industry, and good to learn off each other and get to know each other as well. So I've noticed this pod's sort of connected a lot of people together, and if they wouldn't normally reach out to each other, and even online now. So there's a bit of a group happening there. So probably more on that too later on the year. So lots going on, and it's good to be back. So today I got a guy all the way from New South Wales. So we've got Kobyn Struck from K&R Auto Detailing. So how you going, Kobyn?
Good. How are you? Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for waiting. So
No,
Kobyn reached out last year. We had a fair chat. I think we were on the phone for about 50 minutes. So
something like that. Yeah, no, ages. We just caught up to just talk about it and see how you get on the pod, and then we were just talking on and kept on talking and talking and talking, and just and then you finally asked me on, and now we're here.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's we spoke, and I thought when we got off, I said, "Oh, we probably heard a podcast while we spoke just then." So you're not the only one that rings me, and it's pretty cool, because I had a guy the other week, and he just rang to thank me for what I'm doing. I'm like, well, thanks, mate. So it's good to meet other people now doing this. So
it's always good. It's good, isn't it? Like, it feels like there's detailers everywhere, but no one talks to each other. Like, I don't know. It just feels like I follow so many on Instagram, but I don't know any of them at all. and it
Yep.
just feels like there's that barrier between all of these detailers. And yeah, when I came across you, it was awesome. We kind of finally bring everyone together, especially in Australia. Like you find in the UK and in America, everyone seems to know everyone, but over here, it just seems like we're not quite there yet. It seems like we haven't developed detailing as much as everyone else has.
No,
Um,
no.
yeah, I find I think there was a pod not too long ago, and you were kind of talking about similar subject. I think it was actually with the blokes from America, wasn't it?
Possibly.
Yeah, yeah, I think it was. And you were going on about how yeah, it just felt like we weren't as developed as much as over there. It feels like they've been detailing for a lot longer than Australia has. But yeah, no, it's just one of those things. I think we will slowly connect, and your pod's getting bigger and bigger every day. So,
Mm. No,
but
and that's what the idea behind it was for me to host it and bring everyone together. So that was the intent of this. So
yeah,
yeah, similar to other pods, I guess, but we don't have one over here, so that's sort of why. And I think everyone, when you are listening to it, you can relate. Old mates down the road, I can sort of relate and know what products he's using because I use them or I can get them. Not like some American ones we don't all have the access to. So with products that
yeah,
they use, so
that there is a lot over in America, and same in the UK. Actually, there's
mm,
so many products out there, and we don't get access to all of them, which kind of sucks. But I found there was actually a wet vac I was after a while back. I forget what it was called. It was blue, um, and it had a steaming function to it. I forget the name. I would have to look it up at some stage, but it had a steaming function to it, and I could not, for the life of me, find it in Australia at all.
I
And
think for that reason, I think their power, their wattage, their issues is a drama. I don't think they can get the power or something that what we use over here. So what we use over here is quite powerful because I've
yep,
done some research getting a steamer vac sort of thing before, but they're
yep.
so expensive. But
Yeah, well, you see them online and you go, "Oh, that looks awesome,"
mm,
Because at the moment, yeah, it's just I use the Karcher wet vac. Look, awesome machine, never had a problem, but there has been times when you're definitely doing those grottier carpets and seats, and you feel like it needs a little bit more heat or a little bit more cleaning power to it. And I saw those steaming ones, and they just looked awesome. But yeah, you can't get them over here, which is just I feel like we need to develop a little bit more in terms of our detailing products and equipment. You look online and you can't find too much. We're definitely getting there. Like detail
mm,
stores a lot. Like I recently bought an ozone machine. I believe it was from the detail store, and it's awesome. And they sell. I think they sell the spotless filters as well, so you don't have any. I forget what is it. The chlorine that affects water.
the CR spotless ones you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I got them. Yep.
Yeah, that's the next thing I want to do. I don't know how I've gotten one yet, but that's the next thing. But it's just crazy. Every time I get another product, it goes, oh well, I guess there's another one to get, isn't there? I
Yeah.
just got the ozone machine, and that was a couple $100, and then recently I got the Flex PXE, I think it's called, the mini one.
The
I think
80 is it PXE
yeah,
80?
it's
Yep.
the
Yep.
80. And that's an awesome machine. It's crazy versatile. And I got they also a company, I think from Germany actually. It's called APS, and they sell adapters for everything. So I got a 2-inch pad for it. I got a Dremel attachment, and then I got you can get a extension bar as well for it. So I basically got everything now for it, and it's what I use it every single day. It's
Yep.
a awesome machine. I don't know if you've gotten one yet, but yeah, it's just awesome.
No, I was
It's
chasing
worth
that
the
one
money.
and I was chasing a steamer. So I finally got my steamer. Haven't
Yep,
used it too much other than on my studio floor to give that a spring clean at the end of the year. But
yep,
yeah, I haven't had many interior jobs yet and any sort of paid PPF removal jobs to sort of get use out of it yet. But I definitely
yeah,
wanted one for interiors. So when I
yep, yeah. But
stumble
no,
across one.
that polisher is a must. That must be your next purchase.
Mm,
It's awesome. It's yeah. If you do, you have a 3-inch or anything
yep.
like that polisher? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
So
got all the Rupes ones, so the
yeah,
Nano
yeah,
and then the
yeah.
3-inch.
So how do you find the nano? Because I do a lot of research before I byproducts. And I heard a lot of hit or miss kind of reviews about it. There was a lot of people that weren't happy with it, and there was a lot of people that really liked the form factor of it.
Depends. I know it possibly underpowered compared to what's out there.
Yep.
Yeah, I could be wrong on that, but it's good for, depends how what sort of scratch he's using, but I do have sort of microfiber pad for it as well. Then you have the rotary option as well. You can switch that part out and use that. Obviously a bit careful where you use that, but I don't mind it. I don't use it everywhere. It is handy for some of the bike stuff I do. So I love it for that. But yeah, you got sort of, I just run it full noise for the power.
Yeah, I
purpose.
think of us do, like even my Flex one, like all the reviews I saw, they said it's crazy powerful, but even then, all of those reviews said you're going to be living at about speed 3 or speed 4. You're never really on speed 1 or speed 2. I think the only time I found you wanted to get to that kind of low speed was in a rotary, when you're using it as a rotary function and you didn't quite need crazy high speeds. But yeah, no, even with the Flex, you're using it at full bore all the time just to kind of get those deep scratches, especially on brand new cars. The clear coats are so hard. It's so hard to get any type of scratching out these days. Like I had a brand new, funnily enough, how you were saying you had a brand new Ranger in. I had a brand new Ranger Sport, and that was, black on black. And that was horrendous. It had 300 Ks on it, and it looked like it'd gone bush bashing. It was just awful. It took 2 days of correcting, and he was stoked. But honestly, if I bought that car, I would have taken it back to Ford. It was just horrendous. Buying a new car, I think they're about $60,000 to $70,000, those cars. Yeah, I would be gobsmacked to be spending that kind of money and just getting a car in that kind of condition. It just looked awful. It had pigtailing everywhere. It had a couple clear coat drips as well from factory, which is just insane for a car that price. But it's not the first time I've heard it. Tesla's renowned for it. I've seen it on a couple cars these days. The best I've ever seen, honestly, is Mazda seem to be pretty good. They every time I see a Mazda paint job, it's always in really good nick, especially brand new. I don't know what they do, but they somehow get those cars perfect compared to a lot of other companies that are handing these cars over to customers and they just look horrendous. Like, it's just awful half the time. Like, I've seen some of these. We did another black car, a Silverado, and that was, they're about $180,000 car, and that was just horrendous. Similar.
What's the paint like on that? Is it sticky or soft?
Similar to any other American paint, super hard to get type of refinement out, but then as soon as you put a cloth to it, it micro scratches. So you got to be very careful what type of cloths you're putting onto it. You need to know what thread counts you're putting onto it, because they're just super fine. I find it's very hard to get anything back as well, because half the paint jobs these days are crazy thin. You're getting some of these paint jobs and they're just microscopically thin. They are, compared to these older cars, like we have a Honda NSX in at the moment, and that's got heaps of paint to work with. We can wet sand, we could do whatever we want to with it. I know a lot of people work with microns. My little depth gauge, it's not the craziest, most expensive one, but it only does it in mils. So it's about 0.3 mil around the whole car, which I think off the top of my head is something above like 10 plus microns in paint in that type of measurement. Where a lot of these cars that are coming in are 0.1, 0.15, which is crazy thin. It's insane. Like that Ford was 0.1 around the whole car.
Wow.
And yeah, it's just, you can't do much with that. You can kind of get a little bit of swelling out, but you can't be cutting too much, because otherwise you're just going straight through the paint, which is just insanity for a new car. So that's why I think PPF is definitely, going crazy now as well, because all these new cars, companies are making paint jobs so thin that honestly, I think you need a PPF. I think ceramic coating and PPF is going to be a big thing, in terms of you're going to PPF a car and then you're going to coat over the car on top of that, just to have the ultimate maintenance. And I've noticed even with our ceramic company, they offer PPF ceramics, and I think it's going to be one of those things where you'll do PPF and then you'll do a ceramic on top of the PPF, and that's just going to be kind of the norm in a couple of years' time, I think. And you're kind of already seeing it. A lot of bigger detailing studios, like you as well. You know what I mean? Everyone's using PPF. I think it's just the next thing that everyone's moving into.
Mm. Yeah, I've heard a bit of that lately, and it's like if you're not using it, you probably should be looking at it. But it's not easy for everyone. I've been doing it the last few days, and yeah, it's a bush wraps kit, but it's like the
Yeah,
pro install one with the wrapped edges and stuff, which is something a bit
yeah.
different. I haven't done a lot of, and
I think you definitely got to be prepared to take it on.
mm,
I don't think anyone can just kind of stroll in, and I think this is why they offer the courses. And it's the same with ceramic brands as well. There is some out there that just give you a certificate and go, "Yeah, you're ready." But there's most reputable ceramic brands. You need to do a course, um, and I think that's the main reason because it's so hard to do. If you handed someone PPF and they had no idea, it'd be horrendous.
yeah,
You'd be scratching paint, you'd be doing everything else under the sun. If they don't check if there's been a paint job, I think you've mentioned you can lift paint as well if the paint job hasn't been done right.
mm,
So yeah, it'd be disaster if you didn't know what you're actually doing.
yeah,
So I think that's why they do all these courses, and I'm due for one soon as well. I'm just kind of deciding if I go bush wraps or if, as we were talking about, the what was it, XPEL, I think.
yep.
But just from what you said, I think I'm going to be going bush wraps now. After you said I need to get a machine on top of that, which is about $10,000 off the top of my head.
Yeah, I've been talking to a lot of people, and it's not easy to get into if you want the outlay. And
Yeah,
I don't have a huge market for it yet, so for me to lay all that coin,
yeah.
yeah, I can. One for a start, I don't know where I'm going to put the plotter, and then my market's not huge with film yet. It's slowly getting out, so it's probably taken a few years for coatings to get out and about around where I am. But now the film's starting to get out, but I won't have the market for that outlay just yet. So I'm
Well,
still
yeah, justify it, isn't it? It's
yep,
do the course. Like I've already looked into the course, and it was over $2,000 off the top of my head. And then well, now you gotta get that on top of that. So
yep,
it's a lot of money. Where I think the bush wraps course is 2,000 off the top of my head, or it's 1,000
yeah.
something
It's
along those
a
lines.
bit cheaper. You get the basics of how to stretch and play with film and do all that sort of stuff with it.
Yeah.
But I just say bush wraps is not the best for everything, but it's a good learning. It's a
Starting
learning
point.
curve. Yep,
Yeah, exactly.
that's
It's a
all it
good
is.
start.
Yep,
I think instead of jumping into the deep end, maybe go that first, which I think that's what I'm going to lean towards more now. And maybe I'll just offer that, and then slowly but surely, slowly start offering more and more other stuff. But yeah, it's one of those
yeah,
things. Where do you put the machine?
exactly. And I got that. I'd have that drama at the moment where I'm located, but later on, you never know. Once the market comes up, like I'm literally the only one doing it in our town, so that's sort of why I'm in early on it.
Yeah. Well, you're not in a massive town, are you? It's not
Nah, we've
crazy.
got about 30,000 here plus
Yeah.
surrounding areas, so
Oh,
it's
so you're
not.
probably very similar to the Highlands where we are, I'd say. Like
Yep,
we're very close to Sydney, but we're still not a big town.
yep,
Uh, but I think we're kind of lucky per se that we're so close to Sydney. We do actually get a lot of people travel down this direction to either have a holiday home or they just want to come down here and visit. It's a very beautiful countryside if you've ever been to the Highlands, but yeah, a lot of rich people live down here, honestly. A lot of higher end people, a lot of celebrities as well. They
oh, yeah,
seem to gravitate towards here. I think it's that perfect distance between Sydney and country.
yep.
You're only 45 minutes away from. Do you know where Campbelltown is? Have you heard of Campbell?
I know of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yep,
it's only 45 minutes. So it's I think in total about an hour and 10, hour and 20 to get to the center of Sydney. So it's not a big distance. You're kind of smack in the middle. You've got Canberra in the other direction, and that's about an hour and 20 as well.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a good kind of middle ground. But yeah, no, I think we've got. I can't remember the population count of the Highlands, but it'd be very similar, I'd say.
Mm.
And yeah, we have similar. Like we don't have many detailers down here either. I think I've definitely started seeing them pop up a lot more over the years. Since I've started, like when I started, there was only one other detailer in all of the Highlands, and that was only 3 years ago.
I was gonna ask how long you've been running for.
Yeah, well, yeah, so I started. Look, I've always been doing it as a hobby for ever since I got a car, basically. But we started at the when was it? End of 2019, funnily enough, just before COVID started. So a perfect time to start. So it was a bit of a rocky trail at the very start. Or honestly, over those 2 years, it was a rocky trail. You didn't know what was going to happen the next week or the next day. The government was going to either announce another lockdown, and then you get cancellations straight away. There was a lot of tough times throughout that. There was definitely, especially starting a business, you're already slow, and you're in it for everything. Like I was doing 2 jobs at the time to do it.
Yep.
I was working IT, and that was funding the shop because I did mobile for about a week, and then I went, no, I'm not doing mobile. We don't have a heat issue per se. Definitely in the summer it gets hot, but compared to other areas, not as much. But winter's a tough one down. Similar to Melbourne. We're getting in peak winter below 0, sometimes -1.
Well,
So
you need Canberra, so that's
yeah.
bloody
Well,
cold in
Canberra's
summer.
a bit cold. Yeah, well, exactly. That's exactly right. Well, right now it's only 21 degrees here. But yeah, like yesterday it was only 13. So, and that's in summer.
Yep.
So yeah, I just knew from the get go I didn't want to be outside in the freezing cold. And even in a warehouse, it's bad enough. In a warehouse, it gets freezing because we're in concrete warehouse. But yeah, so from the get go, I wanted to be straight into a shop. So I had a mate that was after a kind of a space to work on a car as well. So we found a place in the complex that we're still in today, actually, not in the same shop, but in the same complex. And it was listed as, off the top of my head, 140 square meters. In reality, how they work that out is they work it out from the mezzanine as well, which
Yep.
it had. So in reality, it actually only had 90 square meters on the floor. But at the time when I moved in, I'd never been in a warehouse, and I didn't know quite how much space it was actually going to take up. So when I moved in, it looked massive to me.
Yep.
And then yeah, you get one car in, you get all of your cabinetry and everything else, and your vacuum and your gurney and everything, and it started getting very small very fast. Especially at the start, we still had my mate in there, so he had a car in the corner, and I had the main entryway because I had cars coming in and out. So that didn't quite last long. We're still mates, but I kind of just told him, look, I don't think I'm able to share it with you anymore. It's just getting too busy already. And by too busy, we were only having a couple cars a week, but even then, it was just we needed the space. We weren't coding at the time at first for the first, I think the first 6 months or so, maybe a little bit more. And in and out, we had maybe, if we're lucky, one car a day. And as when how you would know, especially when you first start, you're charging peanuts. You're charging nothing because you don't know what you're worth.
Yep.
And we have one car a day. May have been $100 a detail. At the time, I thought that was expensive because I was going off whatever the scratch and shine used to charge, which would have been about $30 to $40. So I thought, oh, you know what? I'm starting. Maybe I'll just charge double for now.
Yep.
And it went from double to 3 times the amount, and you just slowly work up and start realizing how much you're worth. But yeah, no, every week was uncertain. We had a lot of times where they would go, we're in another lockdown again. You can't open, and I would get all of the bookings call up and go, yeah, I'm not coming in now. I'm worried. I don't want to get COVID, blah blah blah. So, and we're still paying rent, and at that time I had actually left my job, so that was my main job and main form of income.
Mm.
And yeah, there was a couple of times where it got very stressful. Everything was riding on having customers come in, otherwise, well, you had no income, full stop. And back then, rent wasn't crazy. I think it was about, off the top of my head, 360 back then. And for that little area, it was a
Yep.
brand new unit, had solar panels, so we definitely saved a lot of money that way. But yeah, no, even back what I was charging, if you lost a week's worth of work, you couldn't pay rent. So there was a lot of times where I couldn't pay it, and I was dipping into my savings, and then your savings only last so long throughout COVID, especially when I'm not getting any work in. And there was a lot of times where I almost called my old boss back up and just went back to him, because I just went, you know what, I'm in too deep. It's not worth it. It's just all too hard. But I stuck it out and just kept on going, and now we're in it's about 400 square meters, and yeah, we're turning over crazy amounts of money. I wouldn't imagine being turning over after 2 years. It's crazy. I think that saying where if you keep on going until you win, it's very true. You just keep on going and going and going, no matter how many times it's the world tries stopping you, and you'll get to where you want to be. And even today, I'm not going to lie, we still have struggles. It's You're always going to have struggles in life, and I think if you just keep on trying, you'll always get to the goals you want. So the next big thing is doing PPF, and I think that's our next route, and we're going to go down that way. And I'm going to say it will pay off, but who knows? It's a little bit of an investment, to start with. I think doing the $2,000 course, and then I've got to fly up to Queensland, so I've got to book a hotel for 2 days, and then I've got to fly back on top of that. It's going to be a little bit to do, but it's probably going to be worth it. As you've done your course, and you're not doing too much at the moment, but I bet it's definitely picking up. You're definitely doing a lot more.
Yeah, you just sort of work it out. Once you do the course and what it costs you, you just work out how many cars you got to do to cover your course, and then once the word gets out, people keep coming in, and it might be something else they want wrapped as well. So it might be not just a full drive; it could be a truck or something. So
it's very similar to ceramics, isn't it? That I remember when I first got, or I put a lot of emails in, kind of figuring out I find when you look up ceramic and how to get certified, I definitely struggled to find just quick links to say, oh yeah, this is where you do it. I found that you had to find the company you were kind of interested in, and you have to go down to the contact info and see if they even offer courses or any type of certificate to do their ceramic. I searched for a while. I applied for Geon. At the time, I think I was a bit too small, and Geon wasn't too interested in the size of my business at the time, so I don't think I really heard back from them. I applied for CarPro, but CarPro, you had to do a course, and I think it was a bit much for my liking, and at the time I wasn't making crazy money, so I couldn't really justify spending that kind of money when I was such a small business. I wasn't even a year old yet. And I looked into a couple others, and we did for a while CarPro. We were just using their consumer grade one, which was actually, to be honest, an awesome coating. It definitely lasted over the longevity of what they said, but wasn't quite up to scratch of a professional coating. And in the end, funnily enough, I was following them, but I sent a message to Wax is Dead Australia. I remember I used to watch a lot of Wax is Dead in the UK, which is where it originated from. And awesome coating. It always looked cool, looked really good, went in the videos that they were doing on all these UK detailers. I've been following them for years before I even started my business. And just flicked him a message and just said, "Hey, I was just looking at your ceramic and curious if you actually offer anything in terms of getting certified over in Australia." I wasn't too sure if it was actually in Australia yet in terms of getting certified. And when he messaged me back, he said, "Funny, we were just about to start offering. We've I think at the time there was only a couple other detailers actually certified with them. I think it would have been maybe 10 in all of Australia."
Yep.
So it was a very, very early on ceramic, and at the time it was so small that he didn't offer a certificate course. He offered a certificate, but didn't offer a course in any way because it wasn't big enough yet. But I knew from just watching the UK videos that they were a very high quality ceramic, but they just weren't situated just yet in Australia. COVID definitely slowed everything down. And yeah, we got certified with them because I just, similar to you, I spoke over the phone and he liked how I sounded basically. Um, so we gave it a tester, and haven't looked back since. It's definitely on the more expensive side of things, but awesome coding. Like, we had a 2-year coding come back in. It's gone over its 2 years and it's still performing like the day it left, which is just crazy to imagine. Over 2 years, it's a 2-year coding, and I reckon honestly it's going to go over 3 years.
Yep.
Which is awesome for something that's not even meant to be going that far. So I'm crazy happy with them, and I think you were saying that you are going to try getting him on. I think Brett from Boss Collective on that runs
Yeah.
the website Australia.
We did have an episode teed up, and we haven't quite aligned times yet. So
yeah, he's a busy man.
he is a very busy man. So yeah, no, I understand he's busy. So
He'll be awesome to have on. He's an awesome bloke, and you know what?
yeah.
He's been an awesome ceramic rep. He sent a hamper for Christmas. He's always looked after us. Always gives us freebies. He when we get the ceramics, he usually chucks in random things, because he also has his own little detailing product kind of website that you can buy from when you're buying the ceramics. So he offers polishing pads and brushes, and actually sells scrub ninjas as well.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if they're the official scrub ninja or not, but they're a variant of the scrub ninja. So yeah, usually when you get a ceramic, you'll get some lollies, and you may get a buffing pad, which is a nice little bonus when you're spending. You do spend a lot of money with ceramic.
Yep.
But nothing quite like PPF, I guess. At the end of the day, is it?
Yeah.
I hear a couple of these blokes spending 30,000 on PPF rolls, which is just crazy. But it'd be awesome to get to that kind of stage of detailing, but I don't think we're quite there yet. But you see a couple of these blokes in Sydney that are like that, and it's just you look up to them in a way. You go, wow, it's crazy. They brought their business into $1 million business, which is crazy to think for a detailing business. But yeah, one day.
Yeah. I was going to say, with you, when you were quiet, start off, and it was your sole gig.
Yep.
Did you do any advertising, or how'd you get your name out to then turn that around?
Being IT, I was in a mobile phone shop, so I ran one in town by myself. So the boss had two. He had one in the other end of town, and I had one as well that I ran for him. And so I was the sole person there, and I dealt with a lot of people, and people got to know me very, very well. So when I first kind of started doing it, I went on to Vistaprint, just made a couple. I think it was like 50 cards or whatever the bare minimum was to make business cards. And I just put it up at the shop. And when anyone asked me about it, I said, oh yeah, that's me. But that kind of worked out because they knew me so well. When I've helped their phones out, they were always willing to give me a go in terms of cleaning their car. So I definitely got a lot of clients that way, and still have a lot of clients that are from that time. A lot of people. There was a customer
that always came in. He always asked me about his phone, a little bit on the older side, but he always came in and he was a lovely person. And I remember him asking me, and ever since then, we do at least his fleet of cars. He's got about 4 cars every month. So he's got a Alfa Romeo 1750 and a couple just two Mazdas, and then he recently just got an i30N. Nothing crazy, but he stayed very loyal, and there's a lot of those customers actually that I started with still coming to me today, which is just awesome.
Oh, that's good.
It's good to know that people like what I do.
Yeah.
It's a rewarding thing, isn't it, when people actually appreciate the hard work you put in. It's awesome. I got a lot of people that way. There was a client that ran a little prestige car dealership in town, and he used to come in all the time. And I one day just kind of mentioned it, and he wasn't too interested, honestly. And so I left it at that. And there was another client that saw my card, and she said, "Oh, I would love to bring my car to you." And she, funnily enough, knew him as well and persuaded him. And in the end, we've probably done over 150 cars for him.
Oh, wow.
And you can see it on the Instagram as well. But a lot of those higher end cars that we have done are from him. Not all of them are from the dealership per se. It's from his personal collection. So we did a GT3 for him and did a 599 Ferrari for him. Some awesome cars that I'd never imagine I would ever be working on. But yeah, they're quite a pleasure to work on when you do them.
That's pretty impressive, though. It doesn't really matter where they've come from. It's a car's a car, and it's a decent sort of car.
Exactly. At the end of the day, I was definitely very spoiled when I first started out, actually. Come to think of it, like I look at it now and I go, wow, the first not even year I was working on hypercars, but supercars, cars that were worth a lot of money. You'd never imagine to work on those kind of cars, but I think just me being an honest bloke, I think a lot of people appreciate it, but also just being in the area I am in, there's a lot of wealthy people around here that a lot of them are really kind and willing to give small businesses a go, because we're still a pretty small town. And it kind of worked out in my favor at the time, which is just awesome. But it's still the same thing today. Like, we have a lovely lady in at the moment, and that's the Honda NSX we're doing, and she's trusting us with her pride and joy. Basically, she's had it since new. It's only got 120,000 Ks on it, which is just crazy, unheard of. And it's been signed by the bloke that developed the NSX, which is just awesome. But yeah, pride and joy. She's very particular about it. but we're hoping to do a very good job for her. We're taking the wheels off. It's got Simmons from that era, funnily enough. So from the 90s, and they're probably worth, I'd hate to imagine what Simmons, period correct Simmons are worth. So that's our big job for this week. But it's just one of those awesome things.
So what's that? What is your main service? Is pretty much just the standard correction coatings and some interiors and maintenance washes and stuff like that?
We do ozone as well, which not everyone does. Some people haven't heard of ozone. Some people have. It's definitely handy. It's definitely a good tool to have in the industry, really, especially when you're dealing with funky smells and smoking and stuff like that. It's an awesome tool. It's mainly just coatings, corrections, stuff like that. You do get the oddball every once in a while where you gotta do a boat, or you gotta do a tractor or something, especially because we're in more of a farming country. There was a couple of times where I actually got asked to do tractors, which was just a weird one. Hats off to anyone that details tractors for a living. They're quite difficult. A whole nother level of dirty in terms of the interior, and such a tiny cabin. It's very hard to work with. That was definitely an interesting one. Back when I first started, you grab everything you could possibly grab in terms of people and clients. So yeah, you definitely did the weird stuff when you first started out, and that was one of them. I did a tractor. I can't even imagine what else. Something weird I did. Oh, I did a bus. Just some interesting stuff, and we still do some interesting stuff now. But that's definitely some interesting ones that we've done in our time of running. But yeah, it's just one of those awesome things, I guess. Detailing is so vast that there's so many things you can learn. I definitely wouldn't be able to do just solely ceramic coatings. Um, at least with me, I just struggled. I get bored personally. I like challenges. I like doing different things. There's a time and place for doing really nice high end cars, but also I do enjoy the brain teaser. You get the one that comes in and it's just people think it's never going to be revived ever. And it's always interesting to see. All right, well, let's see if I'm actually capable of bringing this back to a decent standard. That was, yeah, I've definitely had a couple of challenges. Like I was saying before we started the recording, that Land Cruiser that I've been doing, that was definitely a challenge. One of those challenges I probably wouldn't do again. I've definitely lost a lot of money on that. I've spent way too much time on it. But you learn. I'm constantly learning. Even after 2 years, we're still learning. I'm still very young in terms of business age and also my age alone. I just turned 22, so I'm still a young person. But there's still so much to learn. So much. It's always this is why I always like listening to this pod as well. There's so many detailers out there with so much experience. It's always good to hear their experience in dealing with certain things and how they go about dealing with it. It's I'm sure people may be hearing this when this does come out and go, wow, I didn't think of that before. So
yeah,
it's one of those things, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I actually had a question for you. Do you use what kind of detailing products do you use in terms of your chemicals?
I'm very biased and one-eyed, just G on. In saying that, I did trial a few and test a few other brands, which are very good.
Yep.
I was looking down the route of some, everyone's telling me about the Auto Smart stuff. Like, depends how much work you're doing and buying in bulk more, which we buy in the 5 litres is enough because I'm not super 100% full time. So we buy in 5 litres, that sort of is fine. And we stock up on that. But yeah, I just use the basics of theirs and that's sort of all I really use. So yeah.
So John, and you do use a little bit of AutoSmart?
No, I haven't yet.
So you haven't used AutoSmart yet.
No.
Okay.
Everyone's been telling me to, and once I sort of get down.
Well, I'm also going to be one of those people. Definitely use it.
Yep.
There's Wilking is probably my favorite product from them. It's definitely harsh, but it's awesome if you're trying to restore, especially on autocars, under trays and arches, stuff like that, where it had 20 years of brake dust, grime, grease, and everything else. Awesome product, and you can definitely buy in 5 litres as well. I don't know, or at least with our AutoSmart rep, he offers anything from customer size bottles, so you can actually get 500 ml or 250 ml bottles if you're actually just wanting to test out. So I think there may not be any harm in actually calling your local AutoSmart and just kind of finding out. You'll find a lot of these reps, like any type of rep, always willing to kind of try selling you on stuff. So I think you would give you some test bottles and see how you go. I reckon try some Wilking. What do you use in terms of interior? So Geon, like interior clean.
Just their basic, because our markets, I don't do a lot of interiors. We do a lot of newer cars and any sort of secondhand stuff. They're not really that trashed, because if they are, they probably need shampooing and stuff, and I don't offer that service, which people might freak out about. But that's, I think I've said it before, but I don't tailor to that market. Yes, we've got detailing in the name, but my market's not to push for the filthy
Your market
interior.
for coatings and well now PPFs as well.
Yeah, fairly, because we started back doing all the interiors, the maintenance washes and stuff, which we still do a couple of, but a lot of the ones now these days, I've gone away from that. There's probably about 8 other detailers in town, so they tend to look at that market. So I push work to them for that stuff. So yeah, I had one I think this morning rang about interior shampoo, and I just said no, don't do it. Check these guys out. So yeah, I just use the basic interior cleaner and stuff like that for interiors. And then once I use this steamer, that'll help if I do get a rough one, I guess that'll help towards that. And
definitely.
So
I definitely went down the steamer route for a while, and it's definitely good. I just found that there's other ways of doing it, but it's definitely a tool that you get. I used it for a lot of loosening up on carpets, but if you're, as you said, you're not really carpet extracting, so you probably won't be using it for that function. But it definitely helps. It's another tool in the arsenal, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's one of those things. It's similar to mechanic. You just keep on building up and building up and building up and getting more and more and more and more. I've got. Yeah,
I think I will get an extractor eventually. It's just I won't market that. Hey, I've got this new extractor. Bring your taxi down, and we'll make it brand new again. But because sometimes you do a job, and it's sort of the only thing missing. Most people go, "Nah, it's okay. I don't want it done anyway," or whatever. But it's I'm not going to brag that I've got one. And
you find that well, I bet you probably were finding when you first started out, people were kind of wanting everything done. But do you find now that you've kind of directed the market towards just doing exteriors? That's what you're usually getting calls about?
Yep. And you do see the wording online, like, I don't think he does interiors, and I'm like, oh, that's not too bad, I guess. But people that who are off the street, they will ask, and we will say, yeah, we can or we can't, depends how bad. And at the moment, there's a couple of month wait, so most people are like, oh, I want to come in next week, and I'm like, well, I can't help you. So
we get that when we started as well. I used to not crazy amounts, but we did definitely get some just drive-bys, because we had mechanics around us, or we still kind of do, but we're at the back of the complex now, so we're kind of a little bit more hidden away, not really close to the road as much. But we used to be really close, and we used to have all the other businesses around us. So we had a mechanic around us, and funnily enough, the only other detailer that was in our area was 4 doors up. It just kind of, I don't know how it worked out, but that's how it worked out. And I don't care for competition. So, and us being the only two, well, at the time, the only 2 detailers in the area, we weren't really worried about competing with each other, and we've never really competed with each other. Even I've gotten a little bit bigger. He's still in the same unit, but he's kind of gone more the route of, I'm just going to do ceramic coatings, and then I'll have one bloke that does more the detail side of things, and that's kind of where he's happy. I don't think he wants to go further than that, and some people aren't. Some people just kind of like what they do, and they stay in that kind of niche, and they leave it at that. But I'm more interested in growing and learning more, and kind of offering more services to people, and trying to help people, really, at the end of the day.
If I had a bigger area, I probably would venture out into something bigger. But at the moment, just for my small home location, it sort of works, and I do have that niche market of new car coatings and protection, and then the bush wrap stuff and stuff like that. So we have a bit of a name because it is still a small town. People talk, so we have that name of if they want their car maintenance washed, I might not be the first person they call, or if they do, from what I've learned, we charge accordingly. So this is what we do now.
I was going to ask, have you heard much about 3D in terms of 3D products and everything along those lines?
Yeah, had a rep come around. He showed me some stuff, because there's a local paint shop here that my mate, who I used to work with in a panel shop, he now owns that. And he is like the 3D supplier or distributor or something from his shop.
You say that. I was just actually speaking because the rep came down on
Well, he's
What?
not sort of this shop here. He sort of just supplies the 3D stuff, and I see
Yeah.
him posting 3D coatings the other day. So they
Yep.
have all the correction line in there and polishes. So
Yep.
I used it and I haven't really gone back to it. I'm just settling on with from what I've experienced with Geon. I just use theirs and it sort of works with the coatings and stuff like that. So
You're very, very much a Geon boy.
well, yeah, after a little yeah, G meet, yeah, they sort of talked about that. I know probably a cell employee as well, but it sort
Yep.
of work. They're water based polishes, so
Yep.
yeah, and it sort of can help with the coating as well, being that.
Well,
So
I find, look, I've tried a lot of different polishes and stuff like that, but there's always going to be, you'll look up everywhere and everyone's going to have a different preference. And, it may work for them, but it may not work for someone else. Someone else is looking for a little bit more cut and, cutting a little bit faster. And
yep,
some people are looking for a little bit less powder, kind of powdering up and chalking up and want it to be a little bit more liquidy. There's so many preferences out there that I don't think you can have one all polish that just beats everyone. I don't think there's ever going to be one like that. Like I used to use Schwal a lot and I enjoyed it a lot. It was an awesome polish. And then yeah, one day the 3D rep came around and you know what? I just, for what I did, I found it awesome. I still every once in a while come back to the Schwal stuff. I've dabbled in the Rupes stuff and it's good. A little bit exier than what I would prefer to pay for a polish. Um, in terms of how good it worked, I know that's going to upset some people. I know there's a lot of Rupes fanboys out there, but funnily enough, actually, on the subject of Rupes, I definitely I looked into it, but I heard a lot of interesting things about quality control, and they weren't quite as good as what they used to be. And I moved over to ShineMate, which I don't know if you've heard about that
yep.
polish before, but yeah, no, I've never looked back. They're just awesome. The only thing that I don't own that isn't ShineMate is the Flex Mini, because it's the only one in the industry that offers that kind of versatile, going from a 1 inch polisher to well, you can go 2 inch, you can go to a Dremel, you can go to a 3 inch. It's just crazy versatile. But the ShineMate stuff's awesome. I still got my original polisher, which was a ShineMate. I had that before I even started the business, so that's probably about 4 years old.
Oh, yeah.
Still haven't had to replace the brushes in it. I took them out just to have a look and see if they needed it, and they're barely even worn down. So holding up like no tomorrow. The only wear item I've had is back then you when you're cutting you go, oh, I'll just push harder and they'll definitely cut faster. So, so I definitely went through a lot of backing plates back then. The glue just seemed to slowly wear down on me, but
All
not
right.
so now. I definitely learned how to polish a lot more. But if you ever after a different polisher brand, ShineMate is quite good. And I think a couple of people on the pod before have mentioned that.
They have, yeah.
It value for money as well. I recently got the battery DA.
How's that go?
Oh, awesome. Awesome. If anyone's thinking about doing battery, I'd recommend it. You're never going to quite run into a battery issue. I never have. You run out of battery, especially a lot of these at least are dual chargers. The ShineMate one is. So every time you run out of battery, you just go back over to the charger. The other batteries are recharged, and vice versa. Every time you run out, it's the second one's already charged. I do. That's my go-to polisher now. I do cutting. I do everything with it. And I recently got their rotary battery-powered polisher as well, which is just awesome.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I'm fully converted from cabled to battery powered.
I'm waiting. Yeah, I've been waiting, tossing up what to do. I've heard about the Milwaukee one and looked at that and studied that, but I don't think I'll go with that. But I think their battery life would be awesome, but I'm not convinced on the machine. But yeah.
Milwaukee rep come around and I tried it out because it was actually a week after I bought my ShineMate one. But I thought, you know what, let's see what it's like on the other side and see what you know, I think when you're getting the Milwaukee one, if you don't have the batteries, you're looking at almost $1,000, where the Shymate was about 750. Oh no, it's actually a little bit less. It was I think I got it on sale for $590 off the top of my head. I think retail usually about 600, around that mark. So I was curious what the extra money really bought you, apart from the Milwaukee logo. Touchy subject, I know, but it seems like Milwaukee, they slap a logo on anything and it gets $100 more than anything else on the market.
Yep.
But yeah, anyway, I used it, and it's a very heavy polisher. So definitely go into it not expecting it to be a lightweight polisher. It's very heavy for a battery powered polisher. That's no matter what battery you put on there. He let me test out 3 types of amps. So I tried the 2.5, a 5, and then he gave me a high output 6. And I found I was gravitating towards more the 5 amp. The 2.5 was all right, but it's a little bit wider on the base, and I found it was a bit too big. It was getting too close to the paint. And the 5 amp it's big, but it's a lot more narrow. And battery life was way better than the Shymate, but just very heavy, and it's not smooth. It's very, very rough. You'll find your arm be very sore after a full correction. You'll definitely be sore. But that's another thing. The Shynemate's super smooth. It's very smooth. I even showed the Milwaukee rep, and he did agree with me. He said that it was definitely smoother, even though he's not meant to say that, but he did. But yeah, no, if you're looking into battery, definitely do your research firstly. But honestly, I haven't looked back. It's just so much easier. You can, you get up on the ladder to go do the top of a car. I'm talking from a forward drive experience, but and not a little sedan, but yeah, it's so much easier not having the cable, worrying about the cable and where it is, and having the extension cables. It's just easier. It's just so much easier. Look, I think you miss out on about 500 RPM, but if you're not living at top speed all the time, it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, no.
And
where'd you purchase them from?
Said that, but that was from Wax It Online.
Oh yeah.
Which I'm sure you probably heard of.
Purchased off them before. Yep.
Yeah, I've purchased heaps of stuff from them. That was my go-to place before I really found out a lot of the reps. Before I had AutoSmart and all of that, that's where I bought a lot of my stuff. They offer a lot of good products and decently priced. They're not overpriced. That was one thing I was looking out for when I first started, because obviously when you first start, you don't have much money. But I didn't go into it with, a business loan and having heaps of money behind me. So I slowly built things up. But no, the battery stuff's awesome.
How'd you come across sort of honing your skills? There was obviously self-taught, like everyone.
Yeah, that's like,
us.
and there's not many. It's not many places out there that offer like actual detailing courses to learn how to detail. Like that, you got the ceramic course, and you got your PPF course and all that, but I haven't seen many out there that actually offer ways of teaching you how to polish. I think there's a couple, but there's not many. And I think that's something we're lacking in.
Yep. Yeah, we are. And I think that's why the guys from Chicago are coming over. But there is, I've had some chats to different people around the pricing of the course. It is quite expensive. So, but I think what you'd probably take away from it, like any course, you'd probably make that up in the long run. So, but each to their own. But that
I'll have to. I completely forgot about it. I remember you mentioning it when they were on the pod. And kind of interest in that. So when's it happening? It's March, isn't it?
March 20.
Yeah.
In Sydney, up at where's it? Castle Hill, I think. Steve's Auto Group. Yeah.
Hopefully we'll see a lot of detailers out that way. It'd be good to actually meet a lot of people in person. Honestly,
I think that'd be I'm heading up, and it'd be pretty cool to meet everyone, and a few people I've talked to on here, and just messages alone. It's they're heading there, so it'd be.
And it's a good excuse and tell the missus that you're doing work, but really you're not. You're just going up to chat about detailing, aren't you?
She was going to come, but I think she's not anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought they do a business day. I think Monday is the business day, so I think that would have been pretty cool for her to see that
I
side
vaguely
of things. So
remember saying that they go out for drinks after as well.
yeah,
Yeah, so that would be an interesting one, wouldn't it?
yep.
But you know, you get a bunch of blokes doing the same thing. There's going to be a lot of banter.
Oh yeah, yep. But
Be
good way to get together, I think too.
What was the question again? Sorry, you asked
Oh,
something.
just talking about your training. How'd you just self-taught
Ah,
yourself?
so you know, for a while you know, I got my first car. Like anyone wants to keep, you know, take good care of it and keep it clean. So I just slowly started looking at videos on how to do things, and I made the mistake of buying a grey interior, which showed almost everything, close enough to a white interior, basically. So it was grey carpet, grey leather, grey everything apart from the top of the dash. It was to be more accurate, it was a BMW 323 Ci E46 from 2000. It was a awesome car. But yeah, no, I learned everything from there. I learned how to wet vac from that and how to clean leather. I didn't use a scrub pad back then, but I used multi-purpose. I think a lot of my arsenal was actually Bowden's to begin with, which was it's good product, really really good stuff. It's expensive though. I do admit. I tried using them when I first started out, and I used them for a little bit, but even using their wholesale website, it got way too expensive.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just they don't offer much in terms of cheaper wholesale pricing. So I was still having to pay shy of $300 for a 20 liter of wheel cleaner. Um, so I just couldn't justify it in terms of what I was doing. I was doing a lot more cars throughout the week. You know, maybe if I was only buying 5 liters, it would be a little bit more reasonable. I mean, I don't know if it's changed now. I haven't ordered from them in a very long time. Now we've almost completely moved over to 3D, apart from a couple AutoSmart products, and a couple Schroll stuff we still use here and there.
Yep.
But yeah, no. Over the years, I just learned my own car, and then I met new friends and stuff like that that were into cars and had cars. And I think the first kind of wasn't paid, but the first car I ever did was a WRX, a blue one, for one of my mates, and because he always saw how clean my car was, and he asked if I could do it. So I forget what I did. I think it was just a basic wash. Just wash the outside, vacuum the inside, just, you know, wipe the glass, you know, put some tire shine on the wheels, stuff like that. But yeah, learned from there. And then I think the first paid job I ever did was a Volkswagen Caddy for one of my mates around the corner. I used to, well, this was before the business. I think I was just doing it on the side of the road in front of my house. I didn't have a garage. The driveway wasn't the widest driveway. It was a very narrow driveway, so you couldn't really work around on the driveway. So I just did it in front of the house on the side of the road, had all my stuff on the grass, and just did it from there. And yeah, I did a Volkswagen Caddy. I don't even remember what I charged. Probably not much. But yeah, you can still find it actually if anyone's looking. You can still find that first job. It was I think it was the second post ever on my Instagram of a Volkswagen Caddy. And I think somewhere in my story, if you look at the stories at the top of my Instagram, you can actually find a video of it being gurneyed, with me using some Bowden's products. But yeah, no, that was my very first thing. I did not do that for long. Cars in front of my house, and yeah, we got the unit and went from there, and just slowly grew more and more and more, and started doing more and more stuff, and definitely got a lot of clients that love our work, and we're good friends as well. I have a lot of people that will just call me, not even to book anything in, just to call and see how I'm going and have a chat and see if I want to go for a coffee or anything along those lines. Which is an awesome thing to have. It's good to not just solely be known for detailing, to also be known as a good friend to a lot of people.
Yep.
which is nice. It's a nice change from just being known as, oh, you're the bloke that does the cars. Yeah, that's all I like talk to you for. It's nice to get a lot of clients call up and go how I'm going and say Merry Christmas and all of that, which is real nice of them. But yeah, no, that's kind of where I started learning a lot of my stuff. And you know what? I'm still learning. You
Yep.
just pick up things and you go on YouTube and you listen to the pods as well. And you slowly learn more and more of what experience people have out there, honestly, you know, from international to just in Australia, which is an awesome thing. But yeah.
Have you had to spend much on your workshop when you moved in? Was there much to do?
Yeah, a lot to do. So on the first workshop, we probably spent, this was out of a lot of my savings, and also for a little bit I was back and forward with both my jobs. Detailing was, I was doing it at night and I was working my normal job during the day for probably the first couple months until I finally told my boss I can't do both anymore. I have to be going in during the day. But yeah, no, we did the first shop. We did epoxy. We did the walls. We did all the lighting. I didn't do any of that, the triangle lighting to begin with, or any of that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I just did the wall lighting, which were like wall panels. You can, if you look through my Instagram, you'll probably see it still on there. A lot of my photos. And yeah, that probably, after doing the epoxy, was probably the most expensive thing. That was probably about $3,000, $4,000, somewhere along that, to do the epoxy on the floor.
Yep.
Paint on the walls was about 1,000, and then all the electrical. A lot of those units come pretty bare bones. They don't come with much. You'll find that you'll get one or two PowerPoints and maybe one high bay, and that's all you get, which isn't enough for detailing. So yeah, doing electrical was about $3,000. We did PowerPoints, all the lighting, another high bay. What else? Yeah, that was about it, I think. And then obviously just buying all the equipment and cupboards and shelving and everything like that. So I think in total we're probably spending shy of about $10,000 to $15,000 on the first shop build over the course of the year or so it took to get everything kind of accumulated. And then in the second shop, look, we're still building. We've only been in there for 7 months, 7, 8 months.
Yep.
So we haven't done the floor yet, just because when the shop got offered to us from the real estate that managed the whole complex, they already had a person kind of lined up for the old shop, and they were very eager to get in. So we kind of rushed over, moved everything in. So we didn't get a chance to kind of build the shop up before we moved in, like the last one.
Yep.
And obviously we were still running the business in between that. So it was kind of hard to close the business to do it. So we've done the walls. I've recently bought into doing the triangle lighting. So I've done the triangle lighting. It looks cool. It's good for photos.
Yep.
I was definitely, back when I first started, more focused on just having lighting to spot scratches and have cars lit up so I could detail them. But over the years, I've learned you don't need crazy amounts of, high bays and floodlights and everything else under the sun to get lighting in. So I did the triangle lighting. I've done the Swiss tracks as well.
Yep.
We've got bays on the Swiss tracks, and then the rest is bare concrete at the moment. We're definitely doing epoxy. It's just kind of finding the time to do it and the temperature to do it, because you do have to wait for it to get hot enough to dry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, down here the units stay pretty cool. At the moment, we're probably hot enough, but being the start of the year again, we're busy again, so we're kind of hard to get everything lined up, and then getting the painters to come do everything. I think when I was speaking to the painters, we're probably going to have another week of downtime in terms of doing the epoxy. So it's also trying to work out when I can close for over a week. It's a lot of money at the end of the day to kind of, you got to tell the employee that you won't have work for a week as well. We've only got one employee at the moment, so it's just a two-man job at the moment. There was a period of time where I did have two other people with me, but
wow.
that worked out for a little bit. But obviously, people move on and do other things, and some people do detailing for a little bit and then go, I don't want to be doing this. I want to do something else. So for a while, I did have that, but then we moved back down to one person. I'm kind of on the lookout again to kind of expand, but just been focusing on building this shop up. It's a lot more money to do. You know, the walls of the old shop only cost me 1,000, but this time around it's about 5,000.
Yeah.
So yeah, just big increase, a lot more surface area,
Yeah.
but just worth it, honestly.
Good info for anyone out there looking to get into a shop.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
and build one up.
Lot of,
I've been
lot
looking,
of,
but yeah, I want to buy one rather than throw all that
yeah.
money away.
Well, I was more keen on buying one for a while, and when these ones did come up, I was kind of interested in buying it. And then the property developer changed his mind and wanted to hold on to them. I think definitely inside of everything that's happening in the market at the moment, it's probably smarter to hold on to them and
Yeah,
have the income, and instead of getting the bulk payout of selling the property. But no, definitely, I think if you are looking to go bigger, definitely buy. Or even if you're not even looking to go bigger, if you're just looking to get into a shop, I definitely would buy if you're able to. You know, I wish when I first started, I did buy the unit I was in. The unit we were in were about, I think, about 210,000 to buy at the time that the first one we moved in. Now they're recently just sold one of them, same size, same everything, for 440,000.
wow.
So in the span of 2 years. So I kind of wish I did do that, but at the time, you know, I didn't have that kind of money to do.
Yeah,
But no, definitely, I think if you're going to get into one, buy it if possible. Obviously, you know, if you're in main Sydney, you're probably not going to be able to afford to buy a unit in main Sydney or anywhere type of city centre. It's just going to be way too expensive. I would hate to imagine what a unit my size would be in a CBD. It'd probably be impossible.
yeah. There's a lot of inflation on everything at the moment, so
Yeah, right. You know, we're spending you know, for anyone out there that's kind of interested in what a shop kind of rent would be, you'd be looking at, you know, we're spending shy of 1,600 a week paying for that shop. So that's not including your water bill and everything else. So definitely, if you're a mobile detailer out there that kind of is interested in going to a shop, definitely just be prepared to a lot of your income that used to just be profit is going to start going into overheads. That's definitely one thing I learned very fast. I think a lot of these detailers out there that are mobile don't quite understand how much is involved in terms of owning a shop. It's a lot more. I think that's why a lot of them stay mobile, because it's hard to part ways with that much income. I think you know, if I was mobile earning the same amount, I'd probably stay mobile as well. I wouldn't be willy nilly handing out, you know, a couple $1,000s a week in rent. You know,
yeah.
it's a lot of money take home compared to if you're mobile.
And knowing you got the work coming in too, you got to know that you can back it up with it. So
You definitely have those times where you look at your bookings and you go, I don't know if I've got this week fully booked to pay for rent. So then you got to dip into your savings to pay for that kind of thing. But I guess that's kind of comes down to owning a business, I guess, at the end of the day, not even detailing.
all part of it.
Yeah, well, exactly right. I mean, do you have a shop, don't you?
No, it's attached to our house, so still work from home.
Ah,
So
I mean, look, that's probably good for the moment anyway, unless you're, as you said, that's more of your side gig. But
yep,
unless you're wanting to go bigger, I'd probably just keep it as is. Unless you
yeah.
keep it separated. But
No, I'd love to, but at the moment, yeah, just for it works for now. But yeah, who knows what will happen? But
yeah,
it'd be cool to have somewhere close so I can just walk or ride to, sort of thing, close by.
Exactly. Well, I mean, what's the kind of market over there for your kind of units? Is there much?
Yeah, there's a new one getting built there. They want about nearly 25 a year for that, or 20. Yeah, so
That's
that's with
what I was
everything.
about paying for my old unit. It's a doable rent, I
Mm,
think. The rent I'm paying now is definitely a lot more stress involved. You're focusing a little bit more on making sure that you've got enough details coming in, where about 25 a year is not as bad. Definitely still have to worry about it, but
mm,
you can chug along, not making too much money and still be able to afford it. But with the new shop, yeah, definitely, we're more focused on making sure that we have that kind of income coming in. Otherwise, we won't be able to afford it. Hopefully, some stage we won't have to worry about rent at all. We'll just be making enough to not worry about it.
yeah.
But being so early on, it's hard to know. It's everything's not a given at this kind of time in the world at the moment. It's kind of like everything's uncertain. Don't know if we may be going into a financial crisis or we may already be in one, as some people like to say, but
Yep.
it's hard to know, honestly.
Well, people are still spending money, so
I think
who knows?
people is definitely still spending money and definitely trying to avoid it.
Yeah.
Oh, it wants 2008 again. So I think everyone's definitely trying to spend up as much as possible to kind of keep us out of it. But yeah, no, I think one of those things is not many people trying to take as many big risk as what they used to. There's not as much of a safety net anymore.
Mm,
Um, but I think, yeah, a lot of people should still take the risk. If you're thinking about it, definitely, if you don't want to keep on doing the exact same thing you're doing, I'll definitely just jump, take the leap and do it. It's one of those things. It'll pay off at the end of the day.
mm.
I definitely took the leap. I definitely didn't know I'd be where I am today.
Yep.
I always thought I'd just be sitting at an IT shop, just doing the same old, making whatever it was, 30,000 a year. Nothing crazy. Anyway, we're talking way too much about
No, you're right.
money.
Well, might get into me 6-stage questions.
Oh, definitely, yeah. No, shoot away.
Um, yeah, I think there was one change to them, but you probably touched on it. What was your first ever detailing job?
Yeah, yeah. So definitely that Volkswagen Caddy, that grey Volkswagen Caddy, I did.
Yep.
That was definitely my first one. That would have been just at the end of, I think that would have been November 2019. Would have been my first ever detailing job, official one, like in terms of actually making money from it.
Yep.
But yeah, and then it just went from there. I think the next one was a little Golf TSI for my at the time, or still fiance now, but at the time my
Oh, yeah.
girlfriend boss. So that was the next thing. But yeah, slowly got the word out, and then we got the shop, and then we went from there. Really,
Yep. Favorite polisher, and you've probably talked about that as well.
we touched on that as well. Yeah, the
Yep.
Shine, awesome polisher. And yeah, as I said, I think I've heard a lot of people on this pod actually talk about it. About the Shine Mates and how good they are. I think the next one I would probably, if I was to start over again, would be the Flex. A little bit more expensive, but still up there in terms of quality. I love them. I personally, I don't think I would own a Rupes. I do see a lot of hype behind it, but I don't think the hype's quite all there anymore. Um, no offense to everyone,
Hmm.
but it's I think yeah, definitely the Shine Mate or a Flex would be definitely my top two polisher brands. They're just awesome. I have heard a little bit about, is it called Sparta? I think there's another polisher brand out there that I think it's very popular in the UK. It's a
Hmm.
battery pack brand. But yeah, that's probably in my number three because I've seen a lot of good things. I haven't used it, but I've seen a lot of good reviews about it, and everyone keeps on raving on about it. Um, I Yeah, I don't think I'd ever own a Rupes. I've used them. They're good, but I don't think they're worth the money anymore, personally,
Hmm.
in my opinion.
Yeah, we hear a lot of that with people having dramas with them and stuff like that. I haven't had too much. I think I've done a speed controller and
Yeah.
that was it. I think no, the cords have been fine. The brushes have been fine. I have replaced them anyway, but yeah.
Well, the main
Other,
thing I've heard is them stalling out a lot more on the DAs. They seem to stall on the original backing plates they offer.
yep.
But that's the main thing I've heard, at least when I was doing my research. I haven't. The only other thing I heard was from you. Yeah, the speed controller and stuff like that.
It's usually the speed control, the brushes, or the cords that will get a small
Where?
break in them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
The only other one I've heard that I'm not a big fan of is, I think it was called Apex. I think the polisher brand's called
not too
Apex
sure.
Customs. I think. I think you can buy that from Detail Store, but the detailer that was 4 doors up from me, he had one and not even a year old, and it completely died. The motor completely cacked out. Wasn't the best, and I think he spent about $700 on that polisher. So
Wow.
he was too happy with it. I think he uses Osram now.
Yep.
So I haven't used much of Osram stuff, but I have heard decent things about their polishers, and their polish as well. But
Yep.
I haven't really touched on them too much. But I have heard. I'm pretty sure they're Australian based off the top of my head. But yeah, have you heard about Osram before?
No. No.
Yeah, I've only ever heard from the deep detailing mob that was up from me. But apparently they're pretty big, but I'm not too sure.
Yep.
But yeah.
Hmm. What about what's your dream car?
There's a lot of those. Um, it's a hard one to answer. I think at the moment, dream car would probably be a Porsche GT3.
Yep.
I think the only other one I'd probably be getting into, I'm more of a Euro bloke. I like my Euros. But if I wasn't to pick a Euro, would be an RX-7 FD. That's definitely up there. That's an awesome car. It's
Yep.
just something about the body of it and just the rotary and everything is just awesome. It's I've had the joy of detailing one once, and it was the coolest thing ever. The Honda we have in at the moment, that's awesome. That's definitely, it wasn't one of my dream cars, but it's cool. It's definitely one of those Japanese legends
Yep.
are out there, and that's definitely a cool thing. And I think there's a lot of blokes out there that just love those cars. And I mean, it's the first time I've ever seen a Honda NSX, personally. But yeah, no, that's I think yeah, the Porsche GT3 would definitely be my dream car. I slightly biased slowly because when I did detail one, that bloke, obviously we've dealt with him a fair bit. He gave me a bit of a joyride in it, and that was awesome.
That was
Just
enough.
an awesome, yeah, next level, awesome car. I think the only thing I would ever want would, bar that, would be, yeah, the RX-7 FD, and probably the third most wanted car would probably be a McLaren, maybe a 720S or something. I'm shooting big. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah, a lot of those aren't attainable cars for a lot of people, but that's what a dream car is, isn't it? At the end of the day,
That's
something
right.
you want, but you can't quite afford. So
Something to work towards too.
yeah, well, exactly right. That's exactly right. I may be saying it now that I will never be able to own one, but who knows? Maybe in 10 years' time, I may be able to. So
Mm.
yeah, who knows?
No, that's a good favorite detailing tool or product.
Oh, now that's it's a hard one. I think I don't know if I could pick one. Um, Probably my top three would be the Scrub Ninja, awesome product.
Yep.
A Tornador, which is probably my newest favorite product. It's just awesome. As I was talking to you before, definitely that's something you should get. I know you don't do many interiors, but it's just an
Yeah.
awesome.
Yep.
It's a hard one. Probably, you know what? The ozone generator that I got a couple months back. That's
Yep.
an awesome product. You're not you go into a car thinking, oh, I'm going to have to wet vac this whole car to try getting, some odor out of it. But you just put an ozone on for maybe 2 hours to 4 hours, and the odor would be gone. You
Wow.
didn't have any water into the carpet or anything, because sometimes those odors are just lingering in the AC lines, or they're just lingering just in total the interior. So what you do with those ozones is you'll detail the whole interior. If needed, you can wet vac if maybe the carpet's very soiled up or got some type of staining on it. So you'll do your full detail on the inside, and then you do the ozone after, and it's just awesome. If you find there's still any odors, you just go again. Like I did a car that had been smoked in its whole life, and I did it for 12 hours. I ran it for 12 hours. I just I put the ozone in, plugged in an extension cable, closed the doors, and went home.
Oh, wow.
And there's a slight faint smell of smoker, but it was actually really good. Got almost all the smoke smell out, which is crazy. It's an awesome machine. Not in every instance you're going to get every smell out. Like there's definitely been times where there has been smoker cars where I could not get it out. It's in there forever. Definitely reduced, but sometimes it's just you can't fix everything. I think that's another subject that is a very interesting one. Is sometimes you do have to turn away things. You can't take on everything per se. I think I definitely struggle with it. I don't know if you do, but I do. I struggle a lot trying to. I try pleasing everyone, and I think I definitely struggle turning away jobs that in reality I actually don't want to do, but I try pleasing them. So I take it on, and I usually in the end lose money on it or regret taking it on in general.
I think we all have that at some stage.
Yeah,
detailing career. We just try and do everything and can't say no.
Yeah, well, exactly. I think at the end of the day, for all of us, detailing's a passion. We all enjoy it. It's all always talks, but I think at the end of the day, everyone started their business, or even if they're an employee, they started going into it thinking that that's what they love doing. It's definitely an art. Some people, I think of it as just washing cars, but I think for a lot of us, it's not. It's something else. It's a whole thing. It's definitely a passion. It's definitely a passion for me. It has its days where I think everyone can get a bit sick of it at times. But yeah, no, definitely a passion for me. It's just awesome. I just love it. It's detailing. But yeah.
What else have I got? Biggest tip for any detailer starting out? We probably touched on a little bit of this as well.
Yeah, no, most definitely.
Yeah.
But I probably could sum up something. Probably biggest tip: do your research on products. Definitely trial everything, but definitely do your research first. I think you'll get a lot further if you find a really, really good product to begin with when you first start, and you'll definitely go a lot further than if you use cheaper products and you struggle. Products definitely make your life easier. They're definitely a handy tool to have.
Yep.
You'll find, high quality products make detailing so much easier. You just, a higher quality wheel cleaner or an interior cleaner or a better polish than the polish that you bought from Super Cheap or wherever you bought it from. Sometimes just works way better. But no, definitely a big tip of mine. And if I was to say a second one, I'd definitely recommend that shoot for the goals you're aiming for. Don't just be happy with where you're at. Definitely keep on pushing to learn more and grow more. It's definitely a thing that I learned, that it's good to be comfortable, but sometimes it's better to be uncomfortable and growing. You don't get to where you're at if you're not uncomfortable, I guess, at the end of the day.
Yep.
For a little inspiration for some people, but no, it's definitely a mindset I've lived at. Just sometimes it's better to just keep on going, even if it's a bit hard and you don't want to do it. Just keep on growing and see where life takes you. Because at the end of the day, we're on the same track, aren't we? We're all doing the same thing.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly right.
A little bit with on your product side of thing with how I use Geon. Yeah, it's probably there's so many out there and they all do a similar thing. I've just sort of stuck to it and just sort of, instead of getting confused with introducing another polish and compound in my system, trying to work out if it's better or not, just sort of refine with what you've got and get better and use different pads and different paint on it
Well,
to get it
right.
sorted.
If you have a good, if you have a good product to start with, you can just keep on that one company.
Yep.
I think definitely when I first started, I had a massive range of products that I didn't need. I think it doesn't help that when you walk into a Super Cheap or wherever you walk into, that there's a lot of products out there that say they're specialized for one thing, but in reality they're just the same as something else. I find that bug cleaners are usually just a stronger concentrate of multi-purpose cleaner. And I think you start going down that, and I definitely did. I definitely bought. Oh well, I need to clean, vinyl. Okay, I'm going to go buy a vinyl cleaner. I need to clean leather. Okay, I'll go buy a leather cleaner. All right, well, I need to clean bugs. Oh, I'll go buy a bug cleaner. And you just, you end up with hundreds and hundreds of different types of products when in reality you really only need 5.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely something exactly right. You stuck with Geon, and I think that's worked out good for you because I've used a couple Geon products and they're good. They are really good. But I've just stuck with what I was used to and what I liked and what I found was faster for me, at least in terms of what I did. But I'm sure you would find if you try using what I use, it may not work for you. You may go, oh, this isn't that actually that good for me. It doesn't work in terms of how I polish and how I clean the car. So it's all preference, I think, at the end of the day, isn't it, for a lot of people?
Yeah, I think it's very similar to the coating industry with, how we wash cars and products and stuff, and then what coating we put on top. Everyone's got their favourite or considered to be the best or better
exactly.
or whatever. It's where do you stop?
You see it exactly. You see it everywhere. Like there's so many. I see it all over YouTube, all over Instagram, and everyone thinks they've got the best product. But I think at the end of the day, a lot of these products are all very similar. They all try to achieve the exact same goal. Yes, there may be some that aren't quite as good as the others, but I don't think there's. I think I said this before, but there's not a product that one product that ends all kind of thing. There's not a magical product that will beat everyone else on the market. I don't think. I think everyone's very similar. I've used G Technic before because I had a client come in that his son worked at a dealership and he managed to get a like the bottle of a professional G Technic bottle on cheap, basically, because he ran the deal. And anyway, it was a good customer of mine, and he just he was going to use that because he doesn't have too much money in terms of he's not prepared to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on me coating the car per se in terms of using my brand. So I did him a favor. This was pretty early on at the time, but I did him a favor. I still charged him to apply the coating. It was on a brand new car, so it wasn't too big of a deal. I think if it was on a car that I had to do a full correction on and a full detail, I would have been a bit more biased in terms of probably not saying no. But on a new car, I was like, oh, I'll just charge you this much and I'll coat it for you. And I used G Technic, and you know what? Awesome product. I love Wax is Dead, but G Technic was also an awesome product, and I'm sure Geon would be very similar. It'd apply very similar and also be an awesome product. I think a lot of these products out there are all very similar. I know upset a couple people thinking that they've got the best product out there, but I think everyone's got a niche and everyone's got a certain product that they think's the best. The detailing mob that's just up from us, he uses Osren. I think he uses G Technic now as well. And I'm sure he probably thinks he's got the best product as well.
Yeah.
So just one of those things, I guess. It's you think what's best, really.
That's what I always say with anything in life. You trial it. Someone tells you do it this way. Another one tells you do it this way. You sort of work both and see what works best for you. So,
Well, exactly right. I think some people get a bit caught up on who's best.
mm,
I think sometimes it's good just to step away and focus on yourself and focus on what you're doing, and don't get too caught up in what everyone else is doing. I think that's where a lot of businesses go wrong. They focus too much on what everyone else is doing, and they don't focus on themselves and the business themselves in terms of how they're doing it. And self-improvement basically at the end of the day, because some people look at it and go, well, if this guy's doing this, so I'm going to copy him, and then it may not work out for you. It may work for them, but it may not work for the clients you have, and sometimes it's not for the best.
yeah, we're all got different markets. So my market's different to your market, and so on.
Well,
So that's sort of
I
where I
don't
look at that.
code PPFs. I think as much as I would like to, I think I wouldn't be able to. I think I would get a bit bored of doing the same old, same old. As I said before, I definitely like changing things up. I don't like staying in one spot in terms of what I do. I always change. I always learn more and try to do different things. I think doing the same thing personally for me, I just get tired of it, and I don't enjoy it, and I get a bit bored of it and start losing interest. Um, I mean, that's everything in my life, honestly. I think I seem to get bored of things and move on to the next thing. I think that's one of your questions, actually, what I do outside of detailing. And
That's the next one. What's your
yeah,
your interest outside?
so yeah, I've got a fair bit. I mean, obviously, I'm into cars. That's definitely a big role in terms of why I got into detailing in the first place. I was always a car nut. I always enjoy going on late night cruises with all my mates, and you know getting up to things we probably shouldn't be getting up to.
Mm,
But apart from cars and enjoying all of the cars that I do and all my mates have, I think I do a lot of mountain biking. That's definitely a big thing out there. I enjoy that, getting out just on these back trails and stuff, and seeing a lot of things a lot of people don't a lot of people don't see when you're on the road or whatever else you're doing. You get to see some really cool things when you go mountain biking. Apart from that, probably I'm still into my IT stuff, so I definitely play a lot of games and into that. But I think a lot of my life still revolves around detailing, really.
yep.
I kind of get caught up on it, but yeah, if I'm not detailing, I'm usually either riding or playing games, or kind of enjoying life with other friends. I go out and socialize a lot. I think it's very important to have a social life and keep in contact with everyone, because at the end of the day, that's everyone, really. You can definitely focus on yourself and continue growing and growing and growing, but if you have no one to talk to about it, then what's the point? I guess. But yeah, no, main hobbies, mountain biking, cars, and gaming. A lot more bias towards gaming and cars, but I definitely mountain bike a lot. Definitely in my early years, I did a lot more car stuff. I did a lot of stuff I probably shouldn't have been getting up to, in terms of going to car meets and showing off your car and revving your car and everything else. And all of your mates, especially around here, we've got a lot of mountain roads. So doing a lot of that. I won't say that over a recording, but
Know
going
what you
around,
mean.
good fun around turns and stuff like that. But games and stuff like that, I definitely enjoy getting lost in a game. It's always similar to getting lost in a book, but I do enjoy that. But I think all of us as detailers have some interest in the car industry. I don't think you'll ever speak to a detailer that doesn't have some type of an interest in cars. I think it'd be very weird if you didn't. Honestly, it's one of those things you definitely have. As I said before, you have to have a passion for it. I think you wouldn't be able to do it if you didn't have a passion. It's because at the end of the day, I think detailing's it's pretty hard on a lot of people. As
Yeah,
I
it's
found
physical.
trying to
Yep.
hire people. Yeah, physical firstly, but it's a lot. It's just a lot in general. A lot to learn, a lot to do. It's not just grabbing a sponge and putting it on the paint. It's not just that. So I definitely found a lot of people that wanted to work for me would only last about a week and go, yeah, this isn't quite what I thought it was.
Yep.
Which I think a lot of people that are listening to this that do run a shop probably struggle with, trying to find people that have the same type of motivation that they do. It's definitely a struggle to find people that are passionate about doing the same thing you do. And I think a lot of people that are passionate usually go start their own business. So it's one of those things, trying to get people that want to be an employee and not a business owner, I guess, at the end of the day.
Yep. Yeah, well, someone will work for you and then they'll leave you and then go and start their own shop. So
yeah, well, exactly right. I think it's one of those things, because it's their passion. Most of the time they'll I mean, I did the same with when I was in IT. When I was working for my boss, I think I learned a lot of my business skills from him by running that shop by myself. Obviously, I didn't pay the rent and stuff, but I did all the stock orders. I dealt with customers. I did all the till. I basically ran everything bar pay the bills. So I definitely learned a lot of things that way, and I definitely owe a lot to him in terms of that. He told me a lot in terms of how to run a business, and how to run and do accounting software, and what accountants to get, and how to do taxes in terms of business, and how to do employee super and all of that. It's a lot of unknowns when you start a business up. I think that definitely I owe a lot to him, and we're still very good mates. And he always says that he would definitely take me back in a heartbeat. But
that's all right.
Obviously that wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
There actually was, when I was saying back when it was our first year and I had left him and I went to go back, and he said to me, no, stick it out, because once you kind of get a taste of being in a business, I think you actually enjoy it. So he definitely helped me there. But yeah.
All right. We might wrap it up.
Yeah,
mate. So
how long have you been going for? But
I don't know. That's all right.
Something.
It's all part of it. That's what we do. So, but no, well, thanks for taking the time out of your day and
that's all good.
Catching up, which has been good. So, yeah, I think we could talk all day, but
yeah, we probably could. I think we last time we spoke before we did the pod.
Yep.
Yeah, we spoke for way too long.
Yeah.
It was meant to be a quick call, and I think it ended up being, as you said, almost a recording session.
Just about.
Yeah.
No, that's all right. No, I'm happy that if people do want to ring me, feel free. I'm not hard to find online. So, but yeah, thanks for your time today, mate. And
having me on.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Thanks for coming, and it was good. So, yeah, we'll wrap it up and we'll continue on. So, yeah, 1st of 2023. So, on the way up from here. So, all right. Thanks for your time, and we'll talk next week, everyone. Thank you.
That was another episode of the Detailing Down Under podcast. Subscribe now for everything auto detailing in Australia.